Welcome to the Limitless Energy Podcast. Today it is my pleasure to welcome David Sodemann and Brett Ellenson.
Yes, sir.
Founders of Boho Vans.
Yeah.
And it's such a pleasure to have you guys here in Reno. You drove all the way up here in this?
Yep. We actually, technically we shipped it, you know.
Okay, all
we
right.
did. We got to be fair.
Say that.
We got to be fair.
Okay.
Or if we want to let it roll.
Well, that's why I looked at it.
Yeah. So we brought it up here to visit you guys.
Well, tell me about this. What is this model?
This is actually called our King Canyon model. It puts the sink on this side, like more kitchenette space on that side, bed over there. It's a full-size bed, 75 inches head to toe. But full, you can live in it in the middle of summer with this package in Arizona because we got a 19,000 BTU air conditioner. We got heat for the winter when you go up to the mountains, shower, refrigerator, you name it, we got it.
It's a beautiful van. It's got a kick-ass electrical system. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, we go back a little ways. You guys are using mountable batteries on your vans. But let's step back. You guys make really cool vans. So let's start with the inception of Boho Vans. When did it start?
Yeah.
2018, I went to a trip to Maui, and we rented a camper van. It was the first type of RVing I had ever done. It was my girlfriend, now fiance. We explored the island of Maui in a camper van. It was an old, 2001, Dodge Ram 3500, something you'd see, driving to the airport generally, right? Low roof. And we just had the most amazing time exploring the islands. Our trip felt like it was 5 days, but it felt like 2 weeks. We got to see more than we would just staying at a hotel. We were all excited. We came back to Arizona and said, hey, we would really like to have one for ourselves. I'm not a builder. Brett is. We've known each other for a long time. And so we decided, hey, why don't we build one of these and we'll have one and we could rent it out in Phoenix. Maybe we make some of our investment back. And that's what we did. We spent nights and weekends building our first van. We put it up for rent before it was done. Bookings started rolling in. And we realized, hey, not only do we have a van we can use, very rarely because it was so booked, but we had a business opportunity, and we just kind of...
You thought it was a good idea right off the bat?
I mean, it took a little bit of coursing from David because we were busy with work, but I was like, yeah, no, it sounds like an interesting, fun project, to be honest. And with the possibility of David saying, hey, I think we can recoup some of our money if we rent it as well, I was like, oh, that makes sense. And rentals and stuff, that little revolving income sounds fun. So like David said, he wanted it to be able to use. And he's like, I think I can pay you back or we can get our money back on it if we rent it once in a while. And then it was basically from there, we just couldn't use it because it got rented so much.
So how did you finance it just right off the bat?
So we decided to go 50-50 on it, and I was going to buy the van, and it ended up being a 2005 E-Series van. We still have it. Yep. I put the whole thing on a credit card. I had 15 months, no APR, and said, okay, we got 15 months to recoup this. Brett came in and he funded the material side of it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we started in the hole, and I think it was in the first 6 months, we realized, hey, we're a month away from being, green on this investment. And that's when we bought another van.
Okay, this was 2018, before the end of 2018.
Yep.
Okay, and then 2019, well, something crazy happened at the end of 2019, 2020. COVID kicked in, so I think the timing was pretty incredible. So I did watch your guys' appearance on Shark Tank. Was that pretty much a catalyst, or could you have done it without Shark Tank?
I would say that it definitely helped us. It gave us a boost. When we went on Shark Tank, we actually just became profitable, like probably a few months before we went to go do our taping. So we weren't even sure that we wanted to take a deal with anybody. Because who knows, it was scary, like thinking, do they just take over your company? Are they hard to work with?
Did you apply like when you were thinking we have to raise some money here, we might be on the hole for a while?
No, really. we really just applied because we saw it pop up online, and I was in charge in still am in charge in marketing, and I said, hey, this is the biggest marketing opportunity ever. So we applied. It was like, fill out this, tell us about your business in 30 seconds or so. And then it just kept getting more serious. And I think what made it so less, it was a very high pressure experience. Well, maybe we'll get into that, but what made it very low pressure was that we didn't need the money. We We just had this idea, and it was growing organically, and we felt really confident that whether we got a deal or didn't get a deal, we were going to be okay. And so it was really low pressure and just like, hey, here we are. Here's our idea. Jump on board. If not, we're good.
That's a great way to go on Shark Tank.
Yeah. Especially feeling like you're just nervous, like, are they going to tear your business to bits? You know, and like,
but they didn't. They loved it.
No, yeah, we actually, we had sharks fighting over each other, right? And we worked with, we ended up getting the deal with Barbara Corcoran, and she's great to work with. She's probably the coolest one that we could have gotten because she lets us run the company how we want, and she does give her insight. And she's actually probably one of her best attributes is she listens really well, and she gives feedback, and that you wouldn't think that she would really know anything about building a camper van or maybe some of the marketing that goes on our side of it. But I think that's probably her biggest asset because she'll come back with a very intelligent answer of, I think maybe your pinch point is this, maybe we try that. And you're like, yeah, that actually probably is something we should throw in the hopper to try out,
How much of the company did she get?
10%. 10%. So she got 10% for $150,000, and then there's a $150,000 loan that if we ever needed at any time we could take, but we've never taken that $150,000. We just kind of let that sit there, and because we didn't want to take on any more responsibility, overhead. We never really, besides David's initial fun credit card adventure that he did, we never actually worked with any loans or anything like that. We've grown organically and just let the company grow with the funds that we produced.
And she still has 10%.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
That's awesome. What a great advisor to have.
Yeah.
She likes to have fun. I think she's been and worked with a lot of companies over the years, and she's just kind of at that point where she wants to have fun, and like, this is a fun company. People have a lot of fun in these vehicles.
Right. So, okay, so 2020 hits and COVID happens. How does that, I mean, I can imagine, but how does that affect your business?
Yeah, so it was funny because the government shutdowns happened, March 2020. That's when they really came out. And it was the week of our Shark Tank episode airing. And so we were going to have a company party, and we couldn't because you could only have 10 people at an event. So we weren't really sure. Nobody really knew what was happening, right? Everybody was a little scared. But it was crazy because we thought we were going to be the first company to air on Shark Tank and then have a drop in sales. Because after it aired on a Friday, came around on a Monday, and nobody could come to Arizona with their pre-planned rental trips, right? So cancellation. Just anytime the phone rang, we're like, oh man, right?
The whole calendar wiped out for a month. And we were like, no.
So we were like, yay, we're on Shark Tank, but we're losing money. And Brett and I actually sat down and looked at our runway, and we're like, we think we got about 8 months where we can sustain this with, the savings that we've made over the last few years. But then things turned. People realized this is a great way to vacation with lockdowns or, not being around people, or just the whole self-quarantine nature of this type of experience. And so we saw a rise in people looking to purchase. And so purchases started coming in. People started booking more rental trips. Locals, we saw an increase of locals from Arizona booking trips because, hey, I want to get outside. I want to go somewhere. It's summer. I need to go north. Probably got to rent a car, right? Hotels, I don't know if I can stay in them. I don't know if it's safe. This is totally safe. And so it really was kind of in the beginning, it was scary, and then it became a catalyst for what we are now.
And the nice thing about this is you really make it very livable. I mean, it's, first of all, the woodwork is beautiful. The build quality is really good. Of course, a great electrical system. So how early were you guys in terms of lithium?
We were, at first we started with AGM, right? But that was because we basically didn't really hear of the lithium advantages for a little while. And then when we first started lithium, we started working with Battleborn, right? And that's probably like the catalyst to how we've grown today as far as having a more reliable product. So the lithium batteries basically jumped in about 1.5 years into our business. So we've been using the Battleborn lithium batteries for close to 4.5 years now, almost 5 years. And it's honestly, it's like a reliability thing, because we could have renters kill, because that was the whole baseline of our company. We started off as a rental company, and then we moved into end user. End users are more user friendly with their stuff, and they learn their product better, so how to better take care of it, right? So inherently a renter is gonna, be short on exactly how to take care of a product, where the Battleborn batteries, that was something that actually the battery protects itself. So it's kind of renter proof in a way, and it creates like a safer environment for the customer that maybe they need to get heat because it's really cold out, and can the heater start because your batteries are dead or not working? You know, that was what really led us into going down the lithium rabbit hole.
Right. But just the idea of making it livable, I think power is such an important part of it. And, you know, obviously we're glad that you found us, or we found you. I don't know how that worked, but
yeah, I think probably it almost probably was the universe bringing it together, right?
That's
on both ends, right?
Thank you to the universe. And then actually the first time I heard about it personally was when Tom Green started talking about it. So Tom Green, I think right around that time, he was looking to leave the city, and he, you know, COVID was already happening, and he was at that point ready to go anyway. And he got one of your vans with some of our batteries on and started talking about them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So he called in and left a voicemail.
Like, is this really the Tom Green? And it was. We talked to him on the phone. The first thing was, hey, I heard there's some really powerful battery technology out there where I could in theory, just keep going in my van and power up all my stuff and maybe even record an album out there in the middle of the desert. Is that true? And we're like, absolutely, it's possible. Yeah, and that's what started the whole project with him. And sure enough, you know, we worked with them and installed a bunch of, I think we did 400 or 500 amp hours of battle-born, you know, lithium batteries. And he, sure enough, went and created an album. You can probably see some of his songs on YouTube.
He's got a studio in his van, and
totally. And that was actually built with your team, starting with Brandon and, you know, giving him the wattages of the audio deck we had to put in and installing all that. And then we drove the van out to Tom because we had to install the speakers in the correct location for the correct acoustics that he wanted. But you met Tom. I mean, how was your experience with some of the battery stuff you put in out at Tom's? I mean, he seems pretty well versed when he comes to things.
He is. He's so excited. He's so enthusiastic about the whole thing. And it was giddy, you know, like a little boy talking about, you know, his toys. And so that was a lot of fun. And then, of course, for us, he expanded it from his van to his barn cast. And you know, he's got our batteries around his property now for various purposes. So yeah, that's a lot of fun. That was a great connection. He's such a nice guy too.
Yeah, he's great. I think he's got he's got a comedy special coming out, a show coming out, and he's like touring all over. So again, Tom's back at it. Yeah. He's got a resurgence of the Tom Green and in probably like maybe a little different shade that he had before, but we were kind of became friends with him through the process, as you saw, like you just said, like how genuinely nice he is. I think you guys had birthday party with him.
We happened to be at his barn on his birthday.
Yeah.
And yeah, his parents were there and baked him a cake, and you know, we sang happy birthday. It was kind of surreal to celebrate Tom Green's birthday with him. You know, but it was a lot of fun. They were such nice people and great hosts, and you know, we were there to do some battery work actually, and to get the battery installed in his barn because he wanted to do the barncast from his barn, and it's like an 1800s structure, and you can't, I mean, it's a big battery, it wouldn't fit up the stairs, so we had to put it on a tractor and kind of lift it up, and we were at the window trying to maneuver it. It was all pretty surreal. It was a weird visit, you know, but it was awesome. You know, it was great. It was great to be there. And like I said, he was just so enthusiastic about the whole project.
Yeah, as he does. Like Tom gets real excited when he gets real excited about something. Mm-hmm. And so like from starting his own Webo vision to, you know, the initial podcasting and, you know, to where he is today. I mean, Tom, he's kind of somebody that you look up to a little bit when it's like, if you have a passion for something, you just go in that direction. Just do it. And I think that's kind of maybe what we've kind of tried to do some research on you and found like, you know, how you started in a garage, right? And you kind of came up, like your start was pretty interesting to David and ours, where you like, we've both been talking like, oh, we got to ask some questions. Like, so inspiration for us again to pile up of like starting the company, the growing pains, you know, scaling, you know, that's honestly a question we have for you. Like your startup in the garage, right?
Kind of. I mean, yeah, the company did. I went from being a professor, a tenured professor at USC to my wife's dismay, building batteries in the garage. Like, what the heck are you doing in the garage now? You know, you're going to get a job? I'm like, no, this is, no, she was very supportive actually. But yeah, I mean, I think in terms of having the enthusiasm, you need something to justify taking risks. And I was passionate about it. And what led me to leaving a stable job to go and taking this risk of being an entrepreneur, I think requires some level of passion and enthusiasm for just the work, for what you're doing, for what you're trying to do. And what were you guys doing before you started Boho? What were your day jobs?
I was a marketing director at a dispensary group.
Okay.
And it's funny because before that, I worked in alcohol sales and then gambling. And so my dad always jokes. He's like,
"This is your least vice."
What kind of vice is this? Like, is this a cover for something? But no, that was I've always basically been in marketing, and I always was kind of had entrepreneurial spirit. And it's funny that the one idea that landed really started from just more of I don't want this to be a business, but I want to just travel in one of these things. And it's funny how passion then leads into, a real thriving business.
Gambling, alcohol, weed, to boot.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And how about you, Brett?
I grew up and I did tool and die starting in a machine shop since I've been 13, 14 years old. And I did that all the way up until I was 20. And I actually started working for a machinery sales company. So then I started selling the manufacturing equipment to larger manufacturers. So that brought me out to Arizona. And when I moved the company I work for, we kind of grew the division that I was in enough I moved out to run our operations in Arizona. And then a mutual friend of ours was like, hey, you should hit David up about, seeing if he wants a roommate, And so basically we lived together for a couple of years. And in that time, we found out we had the same exact birthday because it was like a Saturday, call it. And it was like, I'm going down to Mexico in Rocky Point, which is like 3 hours south of Phoenix. And Dave's like, oh yeah, I'm going down for my birthday. He's like, Saturday, like the 11th? I was like, yeah. He's like, what? I'm like, 86. He's like, 80. He's like, we have the exact same birthday. So for a while, we thought we were born in like the same hospital the same day, which you would have been because we grew up in the same town and everything. But it just turns out David was born down in Milwaukee and I was born in Waukesha. But so maybe call it 45 minutes away from each other. We were born only like 8 hours apart from each other.
And we weren't really friends until we both lived in Arizona and then lived together kind of briefly and then became buds. But, realized, what works with us with our business is that we have very different skill sets. Mm-hmm. You'll never see me in the van, installing something. I'm usually on the computer trying to get people to give us a call and order one.
That's why you're still friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's very easy to know whose responsibilities are what.
Yeah. And each other takes that responsibility very, very seriously, right? Mm-hmm. So, like to further your question, I've done a lot of custom fabrication and metal work, and then when David asked me to build this, I'm like, I can read a tape measure, and cutting wood is pretty easy. I don't need a CNC machine to do that. So that's how we built the first van. We literally, honestly, we watched a couple of YouTube videos on how to do it, and then we sat in like milk crates, and we were like trying to like sit up and be like, well, we don't want our head to touch the ceiling when we're sitting on the bed, so we have to make the bed this height if we want a 4-inch cushion on it. And like we literally did it just by moving ourselves around the van, and then went to the marketplace and said, how big is a water tank? How big of a water tank can we fit? Water pumps, inverters, batteries, and that's how we built the first van. And so that's the side that I bring is manufacturing background.
Can this go global?
I would definitely think so. And that's actually kind of our long-term projection of, partnering with you guys on electrical systems and batteries and the kitability of our vans and our new manufacturing processes that we're really honing in on. We're looking that there could be an honest global aspect. The third van that we ever built is actually in London, England. And so speaking of electronics and
Wait, which side is the steering wheel on?
It's still it was just a regular Econoline van.
Can they do that? Can you do that?
Apparently, because the guy that we weren't worried about the rules it was for him to figure out. But he was actually on a dirt Harley tour with some buddies around the Southwest. Saw us in an article, so kudos to David to getting him his eyes on us, and we met up with him in the hotel parking lot And his buddy that was a mechanic looked around the van and said, wow, it's quite tidy under there. And so we were like, okay, I think we got a deal. Let's hammer it out. And we were driving away, and I was like, oh, dang it. And David's like, what did we miss? And I was like, everything's 220 over there. I was like, I think I could figure it out. I think there's programmable inverters that we can get it figured out. So we figured it out with a programmable inverter up to 220, and that was basically the only
Yeah, that's not going to be the sticking point.
No. We wanted sales, and we were hungry and just ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool.
Did you so when you started, did you have a founder, or was it just you and in the garage?
Yeah, I mean, originally it was me in the garage because it was a technology company. So it was basically me in the garage making cells, like the actual cells, the electrodes that go into the cells. It was really a science-based company. And I was trying to get venture capital. I couldn't go on Shark Tank. I didn't have any revenue. I had patents, so I was trying to figure out how I was going to finance this. And so I was trying to get venture capital interest, driving down to Sand Hill Road and just looking for angel investors or something. And I couldn't really get any traction there. This was like lithium-ion batteries weren't popular in 2012, 2013. A lot of battery companies were actually going bankrupt. And so then I decided to assemble battery packs to kind of, fund this. And that's when I started bringing on partners. And there were about, 5 of us initially, a couple engineers. I had worked with a guy I met in business school, Sean Nichols, who worked with me for a long time afterwards, actually. And he was pretty critical in driving the early, marketing and growth of our brand. And basically that was sort of the nucleus, got some investment to really grow the business from there. And it worked out perfectly because that funded the technology. And that ultimately, that's why we ended up, becoming a public company, was because we had the large technology upside, but a profitable, revenue-driven business.
And that's, the biggest thing that is a startup company, and Dave and I realized, when we got early on, it's like, you need cash flow. You need cash flow. And that's how we started as a company, as a rental company. That's such a great thing, because you can have a great idea, but if you can't fund it to get there, that's the uphill battle that you got to really face, is how do we fund this to get to that golden egg? And, that's a cool thing that you inherently just pivoted naturally with the entrepreneurial spirit.
When you're growing, you still have the cash flow issue, because you have to fund the growth. And for us, especially through COVID, we were barely hanging on all the sales that we were getting, and you're either running out of cash or running out of inventory.
Yep.
And it's like threading the needle.
Yep.
I feel like from the beginning, it's always just been threading the needle. Is that how you guys feel?
We deal with that too, because we both rent and build for sale, and we're always trying to balance that. How many rentals do we put into the fleet? And every time we build a rental, we're foregoing a build for clients.
But that rental revenue's got to be nice.
Yeah, it's good cash flow, and what really helps is really at the end of the life cycle of the rental is we sell it used, which opens up opportunities for people to purchase something that we build at a discount. But not everybody wants new, right? They're okay with having a year or two old chassis with 30, 40,000 miles on it. And that's exactly what they're looking for. So it's nice to be able to have that aspect of the business as well, where, hey, we have new, you can rent one, but you could also buy a used rental. And so it's kind of hitting the price point on a lot of different levels.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the next step for Boho?
Global takeover.
Drive this thing around. Show this thing off.
Take over the world.
I mean, let's look short term. We're gonna go hang out in this thing and go turn on some lights in the woods and see if we can't find a Sasquatch. But no, yeah. The growth is, we've like you said, threading the needle. We're just trying to continuously expand our rental fleet. It'd be beautiful to expand to other cities, and always expanding on our capabilities of our manufacturing processes. This van right here is really solidified basically a next generation of our building capabilities with different materials and the speed at which we can put them together. I think we had to share with you that machines go down sometimes. We had our CNC machine go down for cutting all of our materials for about 2 weeks at the beginning of this build. And we were fully committed to making the deadline at the first show that we were all supposed to be at. So we had 3 weeks to build this van. And we got it done. There was a lot of late nights. There's a lot of, midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. shifts to get it done. But it really kind of speaks to the progression that we've done. We could have never done this, how we built things 2 years ago or 3 years ago with the processes that we had before. So this is really a testament just to the fast-paced growth that we're experiencing. And if we're going to exponentially be able to kind of increase our production because of this new building strategy, we're holding all of our quality of all of our material, all the strength of all of our material, just using honestly more expensive material. But since we can produce it so much faster and assemble it so much faster, it actually cuts down on our building cost. So it's growing our ability to service more customers, building more vans for end users, as well as expanding our rental fleet faster as well.
Get more people outside.
Right? Yeah, that's the name of the game for us, right? We want to inspire adventure and embracing technology, being able to go off grid longer, stay cool, stay warm, right? Make it totally 4 seasons, which this one is. I think it just opens up the world for our clients, our renters, and anyone that wants to work with us in the future.
Well, it's happening, and you guys are on the forefront.
Yeah, definitely. Well, the forefront. Are we going to talk about the battery system at all, or?
Let's talk about the battery system.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
This one is pretty cool because this is actually the first full build that I've seen with our intelligence feature. The batteries with the intelligence feature. So this is we've been wanting to put this out for quite some time. We've been shipping them out to our OEM partners, and this one is the first one that I've actually seen completed. So thank you for bringing the van up. And
yeah,
it looks great.
Thank you.
And we've got a 48-volt system. We've got our Wake Speed 500 Pro. We've got our 48 to 12 conversion. I mean, this has the works. Mm-hmm. So I think your customers are going to love it.
Yeah,
there you go. Plug in my own product.
No, we
can't wait to show it off. I think I'm going camping in it in a couple weeks, and then we're going to a couple shows, Bend, and we're doing going out to Redmond. Was Redmond, Colorado? Yeah. And then we're going to be out there for people to see it and show it off, and just continue to see what it's made of. Right? It's very impressive to start, and it's we're very thankful that we were able to put one in and test it out and just be like, this thing is powerful.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a shameless plug because I mean it is a statement. The electrical system that we have in here with the amount of power, 13 kilowatts of power. And so when you start talking with people that are looking at it, they're a little bit awestruck because, first we try to put it together to really showcase those components so that the Wake Speed with the new intelligence batteries and really getting them on display for people to see. So it is a big showpiece and people are like, what is that? How powerful is it? And you start going through it and, if they know anything about their system, they're probably like, that's, not, I'm really generalizing, but it's probably, 3 and 4 times as powerful as most rigs out there. And talking about the time you can run your air conditioning, which is always a big thing, especially with us in Arizona, right? So
109 degrees there right now.
Yeah. But I mean, with this system running it at 48 volts, we're running a 19,000 BTU air conditioner. By Cruise & Comfort. Chris builds them down in Arizona by us. Super reliable, robust system. And we can run that, and it runs at 23 amps. And so we can run that thing for, I don't know how long we was saying, we were like over a few days or something like that, and so it's very, it's a very impressive. That's why there's no shameless plug on that. I mean, it's a showpiece, and it's definitely gets people talking.
I'd just rather hear it coming from you.
We don't talk about it.
Yeah. Well, then we need to ask more questions about how great did you think the wood paneling?
Fantastic. It's beautiful. I've already said this is true workmanship here. So you guys make a great product. I really do think that you're on the forefront, and it's in a growing industry.
Thank you.
So Thank you for coming on the podcast.
Yeah.
You got it.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Brett and David from Boho. Thank you for listening to the Limitless Energy podcast. Be sure to subscribe on any of your favorite podcast platforms.